Hey there, everybody! Coming back to you again for another podcast here with myself, Ryan Haley, broker and owner of Atlantic Shores Sotheby's International Realty here in Ocean City, and pleased to once again be with.
Well, happy Friday, everyone. It's Stephen Diaz, sales manager and realtor here with Atlantic Shores Sotheby's International Realty. Thanks for checking us out today. Hopefully you'll find this informative and it'll be of use in your business.
Yeah, so Stephen, thanks for hopping on here with me. I know this was I threw this on you here kind of last minute. I'm like, hey, let's do another podcast, and try to get some content out there. But we've been on the road a little bit, as I think anybody who kind of tuned in last time knew that we were in Dallas for the big Tom Ferry Success Summit with some great information.
Great event. Still, unpacking it as we go. Trying to just bring some general information, some knowledge to not only our agents, but also other agents here in the marketplace. So
yeah. I mean, when you have 3 full days of content, I mean, it's just, honestly, we could have stopped probably after the first morning and would have had enough content to keep us going there for a while. But so Stephen's going through that. And then I just got back. I went out of town again to a leaders event, another Tom Ferry leaders event, had a great meeting with Tom himself, and then 2 full days with 150-ish of the top real estate leaders in the country, and actually in the world. There was somebody there that was tuning in from virtually from Dubai.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so it was pretty cool. It's always cool when you can surround yourself with kind of people who are forward thinking and are literally changing the landscape when it comes to real estate. And they're going to be the people who are changing what happens here in the next couple of years. So it's been a lot. It's been a lot of travel, a lot of ideas. And now Stephen and I have this task of kind of going through it all and deciding what we're going to put into place here for our team and company.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I love about the Tom Ferry ecosystem too, just quickly, and I don't know how involved everybody is. Obviously, there's a lot of free stuff on YouTube that Tom puts out. So great resources for everybody, even if you're not totally in the ecosystem, but just how giving and sharing everybody is, how open they are with what they do that is successful, that, makes it a little bit easier for us to reverse engineer some of that stuff and bring it to our team as well. So we got a ton of stuff, ton of ideas floating around, obviously. A lot of people like ourselves are probably in 2022 business planning mode. That's something we've been kind of focused on here past couple weeks. So trying to figure out which strategies and systems are going to be the best moving forward. A lot of conversations around business planning. Also, Ryan, I talk to the agents here pretty much every day. So I think what we kind of want to go off on this podcast is a question that I've been hearing a lot, and something I've been trying to help our agents answer a little bit better. And it's coming from sellers. And, we're getting into the fourth quarter here. Obviously, we have the holidays coming up. It's just a changing landscape for the real estate business all across the country. And it's usually a little bit slower, or at least that's what the perception is. So the question I've been getting a lot from my agents is how to handle the objection of, from our agents, how to handle the objection of, should I list now in the fall/winter quarter 4, or should I wait till the year changes? Till we get to the early spring of 2022. Obviously here for us, quarter 2 is our busiest time of year as far as real estate goes and transactions. Quarter 2 typically makes up about 30% of our sales on a yearly basis here in the Ocean City and surrounding areas. The good news is, that's our number 1 quarter. Quarter 4 is our third ranked quarter, but it's only 5% behind. I mean, we still do 25% of our sales here in the fourth quarter. So, it's not that big of a difference, big of a gap when it comes to the amount of settlements we're seeing between quarter 2 and quarter 4.
Yeah.
So just wanted to share some insight, what I've been telling my agents, what I've been telling sellers personally, why I still think right now is a great time to list. So I think number 1 for me is your buyer pool. As you get closer to the holidays, your buyer pool is going to get a little bit more serious. Everybody has things to do on the weekends. They have family events coming up. They have holiday obligations. There might be some travel going on since they got through the summer. Maybe they have a winter trip planned now. So when I look at that buyer pool for the winter, it does, shrink a little bit for sure. You don't have quite as many people, especially for us in town here. So you might have a few less buyers out there looking, but for me, the buyers that are looking right now are the most serious.
Yeah.
In the summer, you're going to see more showings, obviously. The spring, a lot of those people, though, they might just be looky-loos. They're in town for the weekend. They're staying, one of the high rises, Sea Watch, the Golden Sands, Pyramid. And they see, hey, that one in this building's for sale. Why don't we go give it a look? They're in vacation mode. They're having fun in Ocean City. So maybe the thought is starting to kind of turn in their head, and they just happen to see that one's for sale in their building and think, what's the harm in looking? So we see that a lot during the summer. Some quick phone calls. We're going to show a property where someone's renting. They're looking at in the same building. Come to find out, they're not very far along in that process.
Mm-hmm.
Every client's a great client. Every lead is a great lead. But in the summer, we're just starting to talk to people because that idea is really just starting to be in the forefront of their mind. So in the fall, especially here in our market, you have people that are scheduling time to make a trip down. They have other obligations, Christmas, Thanksgiving, whatever holidays they celebrate. So they're putting those obligations on the back burner almost a little bit to come look at real estate, to maybe make their dream of owning a beach home come true. So they're a little bit more serious. They're probably going to have more ducks in a row, pre-approvals, kind of know what they've been what they're looking for. These could be someone we met in the summer that just started their search and now they're really ready to go. And so I think you're going to benefit from having more serious buyers in the marketplace now, as opposed to maybe closer to the summer. And I know you have some thoughts about the buying process and how that might help the sellers listing right now as well. So,
yeah, I think you're spot on with what you're saying there. I mean, this summer, especially when we don't have, so we have this COVID effect that's going on now, and doing this in 20 years, for that past 20 years, I mean, we definitely have seen some trends over the years. And to your point exactly is that Ocean City is, Maryland's second largest city in the summertime. We have 300,000 people on any given day. So there's a lot going on, but it starts then. It starts with the dream. People come to Ocean City for vacation, and it's, like you said, very common where they're like, hey, I see that for sale sign over there. You know what? They check in on a Saturday. It's now Tuesday, Wednesday. They're absolutely loving it. And they're like, I wonder if maybe we could buy a place. I wonder what that would look like. And then they start searching. They're on Zillow, they're on Realtor.com, and they're searching. And that's ultimately when they find us.
Right.
We go out, we'll run out and show them a property real quick. And sometimes that emotional piece really, like, they're ready to go. They're going with the emotions, and they're going to buy right then. But to your point, a lot of times it's that initial meeting, and we're maybe showing them a couple different properties. They start to get the dream. They start to get the feel. Now they go talk to a lender. Now they look at their finances. They look at the rentability, and now they're ready to look. So they're coming back now, and they're going to schedule a full weekend, and they're going to look on 2 days. So as a seller, why does this benefit you as a seller? Is these people are serious. They're ready to go. It's not a hope and a wish. It's like, hey, we've really thought about this, and now we're going to move forward with it. So I think, as to your point, as a seller, that's really why you want to be considering getting on the market now. The other thing that does happen, and everybody seems to forget this, but we have seasons in Ocean City. To your point, quarter number 2 is typically the busiest when it comes to sales transactions.
Correct.
And then, quarter number 3 is right next to it, and then followed by quarter number 4. But really, you could break it down to the spring and the fall.
Correct.
Spring and the fall, 2 busiest times here in Ocean City. The fall market is a shorter market, just because the rentals now, our rentals are going up until the end of September, right? I mean, I've got like 4 properties that are going to be listed here in the next week. You've got a couple properties coming on, and anything that's in the resort market that was a rental, so their rentals just ended. They got it cleaned real good, and now we're going in, getting the photography, getting the video, and now they're ready, and the rental season just ended. But it's the end of October. So the fall season is a little bit shorter because I mean they're going to be buyers looking now, and like you said, the holidays could kick in here. But it's an intense couple of weeks. We've seen it in this office here. Our agents are busy, so it is a really good time to be on the market because there's this intensity that has come back, I think, from buyers that, either they got burned out in the spring, too much competition. They've kind of watched things over the summer months, and now they're coming back into play. So as a seller, it's a great time to be just hitting the market now, in my opinion.
Yeah, I 100% agree. We have quite a few listings that are building here in our office that are about to hit coming soon, as you said. Another advantage I think for me for sellers is you're more than likely going to face less competition. There's going to be less people listing during this time of year. The reason that I'm helping our agents handle this objection because a lot of sellers are thinking, I don't know that I want to deal with getting the house ready for pictures right now when I have, my big Thanksgiving family event that we do every year, or they host Christmas every year, or, again, whatever holidays you celebrate. So a lot of sellers are kind of on the fence right now. Do they want to go through, the process of cleaning it up, getting it ready for pictures when they know it's probably going to get trashed again in, 3 to 4 weeks with family coming through with, just all the different events. So you're going to have less people listing right now. We know that buyers are still out there. There's an inventory crunch across the nation. That's not going anywhere from what we see. That's whole nother podcast. We can dive into that topic and what's really driving the inventory crunch in the country. But buyers are still looking. So, I've kind of always been on the mind that if you want to sell, let's make it happen. Let's get it on the market. Just because it might not be the hottest time of the year. I mean, we say it all the time. It only takes one. It takes that one right person to come into your house, see it, fall in love with it, and you get a contract. So you're also getting up in front of these serious buyers. You're going to have less competition from sellers. The buyers might feel a little bit more comfortable that they're going to have less buyers to compete with as well. So they might be ready to come out and put their best foot forward to lock down a property because who knows how many they've lost this year. 2, 3, 4 offers. It's not uncommon that, people are securing a property on around their 5th or 6th offer right now. So you might have people, they think, hey, we talk to buyers. So we talk to both sides of the fence, obviously, but we're also telling our buyers this might be the best time to put your best foot forward and kind of not get yourself in a bidding war per se. Still could be multiple offers.
Or less of a bidding war.
Correct.
Right?
So instead of seeing 8 to 10 offers per property, and again, we're still in this market, so we don't know exactly how it's going to play out moving forward, but we might see more of like a 2, 3 kind of number. So you're going to have less competition as far as what houses are on the market. One of my listings I got coming up, one of the reasons I want to get it up right now is there's nothing for sale in the neighborhood. Very desirable neighborhood. There's nothing for sale right now. So why would we hold that listing when we know that there's someone that wants to be in that neighborhood?
It's all supply and demand, right?
Correct.
Yeah, you want to be in the market when there's nothing else. You're the only game in town. That's the key, because then you stand out. You really shine.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one more little thing that I like about this time of year, depending on your property style, if you have a lot of trees, fall, obviously we have leaves are starting to change colors. As we get closer to Christmas, I've seen people taking, listing photos with their Christmas decorations out. Might give you a little bit of an advantage with your pictures kind of standing out a little different, especially if you're just coming to the market and say there might be something that's left over from the summer that has those summer photos where everything's nice and green. You get the oranges and the golds and the trees, and, it might just help you stand out a little bit more. We've seen when holiday decorations are up, when people are touring your house during that time, they get kind of a sentimental feel as well. They might start picturing themselves in that house for Christmas, for Thanksgiving, based off, what you're decorated for. So that can also give you a little advantage where you're playing to the emotions a little bit. As far as once they're in the house, but then, your picture's standing out as well. If you got a great backdrop of some really nice color changing trees or, I just think it's something that can differentiate you a little bit. if you know how to use it correctly and take the pictures. And obviously we employ professional photographers. So, there's ways that we can make your house really stand out during this time of year.
I mean, they've always said that, the holidays, nothing makes a house feel more warm, or a house become a home, than the warmth of the holidays and how it feels. And to your point, it's the emotional piece, right? Somebody really could envision themselves having their Thanksgiving dinner at, in your home, or their holiday dinner, holiday gathering, in your home. So another great point there for sure. You started talking about something and you said, all right, we could do a whole other podcast on it. And that made me think of one here, but right now, obviously we are 1 year into a presidential administration, right? Are coming up on a year here. And, every time you have a new admin, things change, and, tax laws can change. So you made me think of taxes here. So another reason why you may want to sell now as a seller is twofold. Tax purposes for a buyer. There are certain industries, certain buyers out there that have had great economic years, or great earning years. And so they've got some extra money here at the end of the year, and they may need to do something for tax purposes. And in order to do that, they're going to have to complete a sale here before the end of the year. So there's motivation from that buyer to complete that sale before the end of the year, even if it costs them more, they have to pay more. It might really help them from a tax side to be able to get it done this year. Now, another speculative piece here, but the same could hold true for a seller, right? So we know what the current tax laws are. We know there's going to be changes in the tax laws. I have a feeling that capital gains tax could change in the future. And if you're looking to sell your property today and you've got equity in it and you're going to make money and it's been an investment, well, you could be subject to capital gains tax. And I believe they're not going to be changed and lowered. They're going to be changed and they're going to go up, especially if what holds true with this administration and what they've kind of talked about. So if you're trying to get in on a lower capital gains tax rate, you might want to get it done sooner than later, because who knows what could be coming down the pike.
Yeah, absolutely. And just I heard you say you might pay a little more now. As we all know, everything we look at as well, prices are going to continue to go up.
Yeah.
So if you want to buy next 12, 18, 24, I mean, we're looking at projections, 5 years out, which we don't know how true they're going to hold, but all of the projections are that prices are going to go up for the next 5 years. So if you're thinking of 12, 18, 24 months you want to buy, I mean, we've been saying this for a while, the sooner the better. Interest rates are still super low. I mean, we're talking to intelligent people here. We're talking to people that watch the market, or they probably wouldn't be tuning into our podcast. I mean, we see it here in Ocean City. Pretty much, if you look at a building, each new listing is beating that last listing price.
Yeah.
Every new one that comes up is just listed just a little bit higher. So we're going to continue seeing that happen with the inventory crunch. Right now we have, like I said, low interest rates, which we know cannot last forever. So the longer you wait, the more you push your search off, probably the more it's going to impact your pockets, especially on a monthly cost basis. A mortgage payment per month once interest rates start to rise.
So you're talking to buyers now. Right? So we're not talking to the seller.
Yeah, just
as a buyer, what you could be prepared for.
Correct. So, but then as a seller, to get on the market quicker, you're going to have maybe a larger buyer pool this winter than say next spring, next summer, depending on if interest rates raise half a point. That's going to decrease buyers' buying power.
Yeah.
So, if you have a house that you think's worth, say, $400,000 now, and, maybe we have 15 buyers, let's just say 15 buyers right now. If interest rates go up, come next spring, next summer, maybe only six to eight of those buyers can even qualify for that $400,000 price range right now. So with increasing prices, got to be increasing interest rates eventually. Again, just having your property in front of more buyers that have the buying power right now, as opposed to maybe waiting and losing a quarter to a half of that buyer pool. later on down the road.
So let me ask you this. I mean, so as a seller, I think I get this question a lot. As a seller, you're like, well, you don't want to leave any money on the table. I want to put as much money in my pocket as I possibly can. So Stephen, why don't I keep waiting? If all the reports say, you know what, we've got 3 years, 5 years where prices are going to continue to go up, why should I sell now? I mean, because I think it's a pretty educated, anybody who is following the market could have that response. So what do you say to that seller?
Yeah, absolutely. So, that's probably a little bit of a complicated answer, but it's going to depend, number one, on your seller's goals. Mm-hmm. So, are they selling and buying another property? Or are they just looking, is it an investment that they want to just hold and cash out as much as possible?
Yeah.
I would say if you're a seller that's looking to sell and buy another property, that you need to do it sooner rather than later. Because again, once you sell that property, your buying power is going to be higher than it's probably ever been before in the United States right now, given the equity that most sellers have in their home and where interest rates are. So if you're looking to sell and then buy, then absolutely we need to get that ball rolling, because if you're looking at to sell a $300,000 house, say, and move up to a $500,000 house, you can do that right now, but we don't know if you'll be able to do that in the spring, the summer, and with the prices rising, what's the $500,000 house look like next summer?
Yeah,
it doesn't look like the same $500,000 house right now. So yeah, absolutely. If you want to sell and then buy, the time to do it is now. Now, if you're an investor, you're holding on, you want to make as much money as possible, which, look, we all understand. That's obviously the name of the game. We look at all those projections that are 5 years out, that absolutely prices are going to rise. One thing that's definitely not going to happen, or shouldn't happen, is we're not going to see quite the price rise we saw this year. Yeah. So we're not going to see the 25, 30%, sometimes 35%, given where you're looking in the nation, even in our market. I mean, it's different across areas, buildings. So we're not going to see a 35% jump next year, 30%. The highest I've seen for 2022 price appreciation is about 9%.
Yeah.
And then leveling off to like 3 to 5 the next couple years after that. So absolutely, you might be able to put some more money in your pocket in 5 years. But again, what are interest rates going to look like in 5 years? Right now, we know we have the buyer pool. You could hold and say, hey, Stephen, hey, Ryan, I want to do one more rental season. Mm-hmm. And hey, we're going to support you in that decision, because we want what's best for you too. We're going to educate you, but if you want to get another rental season, you want to use it for a couple of weeks.
Let us rent it for you.
Absolutely.
We can rent it for you. Right?
But we don't, obviously we look at projections. We just don't know what next fall is going to look like.
Yeah.
Everything is pointing up. Everything's looking good, but interest rates, I keep bringing these up, but I think they're probably the touchiest subject in our market right now, because they're one of the things that directly influence buying power the most. Yeah. So right now we have low interest rates. We have a great pool of buyers that can afford, a lot of house right now. Next fall, we just don't know what those interest rates are going to look like. And then, if they go up a decent amount, that's going to really shrink that buyer pool. Mm-hmm. So absolutely, you can rent it for another year. We know right now, though, that we have qualified buyers that have been missing out on properties probably for 18 to 24 months that are still in the market. If that continues to happen for another 12 months, we might see some of those buyers even remove themselves from the market at that point. So I'm always, if your goal is to put some money in your pocket right now, kind of get out in front of the economy, get out in front of the stock market, get out in front of all the different variables that we just don't know what the future is going to bring. I mean, now is really the best time probably in history to be a seller. Yeah. And then on the flip side, I know we're focused on sellers, but as a buyer, your buying power has never been higher with the interest rates. So it's a nice mix, but I definitely think getting your house to the market quicker is probably going to be your best bet.
Yeah. Tomorrow, it is just this. It's a prediction, mm-hmm. right? So it's not a guarantee. We listen to the experts, and they're giving us projections. So we don't know what tomorrow is going to bring, what next year could bring. It's always a bit of an unknown. And I think you hit it on in your first sentence there. You hit it. It all comes down to the seller's goals.
Absolutely.
And that's the case for anything. It's whether we're working with a buyer, whether we're working with a seller, whether we're working with an agent, that wants to join our team, that is on our team, whether we're working with somebody who wants to rent out their property. It all comes back to their goals. And that's what we're focused on. Is how can we help you achieve your goals?
Absolutely. I mean, one of the first questions I ask on every listing appointment are like, what is your main goal selling this house? Because if you don't know that, you can't really develop a plan that's going to serve your seller to the best of your ability. So, I mean, we're always educating. Market is hot right now. It's going to stay hot. So I think if you're looking to sell, you're looking to buy, the sooner rather than later is going to be the best approach. I mean, sometimes we talk to sellers. Sometimes, we educate sellers on prices. We typically like to say we're not in the business of setting prices. We're going to give you a range and kind of let you know where we think you're going to fall, time-wise in that range. So I just think we need to know the goals of the seller before we can really advise them. But right now, with everything that we know, it's a great time to sell and to buy.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. I mean, we know what we're dealing with. We know what we're in right now. One last thing that I want to bring up, just because, and this is what happens in these podcasts. We're just winging it. I've got no notes. We're just said, hey, let's talk about sellers today. And why do you want to sell today? So stuff is coming up as we're talking. And it also goes out, and I'm losing my train of thought with it. But I don't know. Keep going, Steven. Bail me out.
No, I just think it's a great market right now. We've all been blessed as agents, as consumers. Even the past couple of years, if you think of the amount of people that have refinanced, the amount of people that we've helped that maybe bought 3 years ago and have been able to put $100,000 in their pocket. I mean, we've been changing a lot of lives, not just us, realtors across the country, for both buyers and sellers by either helping those sellers put money in their pocket, or people that bought that starter home that we've now put into their dream home, or then buyers that they haven't been able to afford what they want because interest rates have been higher, that have now maybe saved that nest egg. With the lower interest rates, they can go get that house that they've had their eye on.
So I remember it, and this is the one thing I'm keeping an eye on. So we go to these national conferences, we listen to the top real estate economists in the world. But a lot of the projections for price appreciation over the next 3 to 5 years have to do with the millennials. The millennials are coming into their peak buying years. They're at a point where they're getting married. They have good jobs and they've got money and they have the ability to purchase. So they're coming into their peak buying years here the next 3 to 5 years. So a lot of the predictions are that due to the fact that the millennials, which will be bigger than the baby boomers, the impact in the real estate world and the economy is going to be larger than the baby boomers. And so it's based on their movement into buying homes. But here at the beach, we're not primary as much. We don't have as many primary residential units. We're second homes. So I do believe that the primary housing market could see even greater appreciation over the next 3 to 5 years, while we're going to experience appreciation as well. It might not be at that same rate. Thus, if you're thinking about selling your beach home, I got to tell you, in 20 years of doing real estate, there's never been a time when more people are excited about the beach and buying a beach home. So I think it's a no-brainer. I wish I had more real estate to sell myself, because I would be doing it. I'd be doing it now.
Yeah, absolutely. You stole my millennial thunder there. That's one of the things I've been keeping in my back pocket. But Ryan's absolutely right. We're not always as affected as a primary housing market. Now, I would argue that Worcester County especially is becoming a draw for primary residents. I mean, myself, I'm what we would call a come here. So I grew up in the Baltimore area. I've been here for 10 years almost. Can't imagine living anywhere else. We just added an agent, Grace, to our team a couple months ago. Got out of college, spent a couple summers here, went and lived in Baltimore City. She's now back. She wants to live at the beach. So that dream of living in Worcester County, I mean, I don't think anybody envisioned it would be such a year-round area as it's become right now. I mean, our kids go to schools and we're hearing about new developments they're talking about. There's school expansions happening. There's additions that are happening. So it has become a much more of a, I don't want to say a destination primary residence, but that's almost what it is, because people want to be close to the beach. It's a super quiet part of the country. I always say how blessed we are. We're kind of in our own little pocket. But getting back to millennials, they make up 31% of the population right now. Baby boomers at their peak were 27% of the population. So everybody always talks about the baby boomers, how that generation has affected the economy, the United States in general. Millennials are poised to do that much, if not more. And then for the primary housing market, just real quickly, biggest generation in history coming into peak home buying stage, coming off probably 2 decades of the least amount of new houses being built in the United States.
Yeah.
So, we've heard a lot of talk of a bubble, another crash. What we're seeing right now is almost 100% supply and demand dictated. And you're absolutely right. The millennials are kind of the driving force behind it. And that doesn't look like it's going to slow down right now. And I know there's a big thought that, owning a home was not part of the American dream anymore, but that has been crushed as well. Millennials are still saying, that one of their main goals is to buy and own a home. So, even though we do see some more of that maybe nomadic lifestyle where, people are doing some more traveling and maybe, living city to city, state to state, they still want to buy a house somewhere to put roots down as millennials, as, most of us have done throughout the past. So, absolutely, millennials are going to drive this buying frenzy and this market for the next 3 to 5 years, probably.
Yep. Lot to unpack there. Lot. We kept you over 31:35. So we're over that 30-minute target, but
it's too easy to do.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. It's something we're both pretty passionate about too. So, we love our community here. We love, what real estate has done for our careers, our lives, our families' lives, and we know that by investing in real estate, it's going to help our clients' lives. So. Anyway, hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight as to, if you have been kicking around selling, why this fall might be a pretty good time to get the property up and get it done.
Yeah, absolutely. We kicked around a lot of ideas, but yeah, mainly if you're selling, give us a call. If you're thinking about it, you want some advice, you want to discuss your goals, we'd be happy to talk to you about what kind of plan we could put together to help you achieve them. Just one last thought on millennials, and then I swear I will stop talking. I think we've got a younger buyer pool in the second home market nowadays.
It's true
as well. I've helped many clients in their early 30s, mid 30s, late 20s over the past few years buy second homes, especially here at the beach. Which was not the case probably 15 to 20 years ago. So I do think we're seeing a younger, maybe a little bit more savvy buyer enter the second home market right now as well. People that are looking at them as more of investments, that have heard their parents say, hey, owning real estate's a key to being wealthy. So millennials are definitely doing big things in our industry. Obviously, the industry is always changing. Thank you again for tuning in. We try to keep you up on some trends and what we're seeing on the national stage as far as what's coming down the pike. So, thanks for joining us here on Friday.
Thanks again, guys. We'll catch you next time. See ya.
Bye-bye.